what's going on? Assalamu alaikum to everyone. YouTube land, Facebook, Instagram, what's the deal? This is one half of the Expat Bros, your boy Justin Hamza Tyler, or as AB would say, just Hamza. No Justin on the top, you know what I mean? So we're here today. We got 3 people on the screen. You know what I mean? We had a first run around with a Journey Home podcast, but now we're going to have an official, first time main guest on the platform with us. He's very esteemed in our books. We're going to bring him on so he can talk to you about his journey. But before we go into that, I got to give the platform to my main man, half of the Expat Bros, my brother AB. AB, what's going on with you today?
Wa alaikum assalam. First and foremost, I have to always return the salam.
Facts.
As always, the Expat Bros, all we do is go up. So alhamdulillah, another show. We are on episode 8, right?
8, alhamdulillah.
We are on episode
Yep.
8, alhamdulillah, another episode by the grace of Allah. We've made it.
Yep.
We have a special guest, a good friend of mine that I'm happy to join, alhamdulillah, man. And I just want to shine the lights on his journey, not only as an entrepreneur, but also as a Muslim, and just get his insights, his wisdom, his laughter, So without further ado, man, and as always, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe,
Facts.
make sure to engage, make sure to follow, and also leave comments. Tell us what you think about Meraj's journey, and if you hear anything that that you can relate to, please share. Let us know in the comments, and we'll go from there, inshallah. But without further ado, Hamza, take it away.
Yeah. So we have a special guest here, as we talked about. This brother had the pleasure of eating breakfast with the crew, you know what I mean, one day on a Friday. I think it was for Juma, you know what I mean? Shout out to Andeli, you know what I mean? So we were out there chopping it up. Funny guy, man. I actually really enjoyed talking with him. He was in direct eyesight, so able to talk, whatever. It was a whole bunch of the crew, AB's people, you know what I mean? I was invited that day. I don't know. We didn't get up after that, so I don't know if I was included anymore. But nah, it was all good, man. Meraj was there. He was a dope dude and very entrepreneurial. Could tell he was very intellectual and very smart. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things that stuck with me. So when AB said, hey, let's bring on Meraj, I said, yeah, no doubt. That makes total sense. His story is dope. And shout out to all entrepreneurs out there. It's not easy. You know what I'm saying? So without further ado, Meraj, brother, talk to us. Introduce yourself, who you are, why you're here today, and anything else you want to let the crowd know.
Thank you so much, Justin. Hamza, actually, because you're Muslim. Wa
Thank you,
alaikum
brother.
salam as well to everyone. And also salam alaikum to anyone that's going to listen to this. So, of course, my name is Meraj in Arabic. It's with an ain, which is sometimes an issue for non-Arabs to pronounce. I mean, starting from where? That is always a question, If you're in the school and you want to write an essay, the hardest part is where to start from. But I think that my journey sort of took its turn with whatever past experiences that happened. I grew up in a very orthodox Pakistani family, and I grew up in Qatar. I always tell people that I get the best of 2 worlds, okay? I relate to that 1.5, 1.6 billion people on the Asian side, and I also get an access to the 200, 300 million of Arab speakers on this side. I relate to both the cultures. I sort of see them from above the canyon. They are in the canyon, and I can relate to their music. I can relate to their culture. I can relate to their talks, to their jokes, to their movies, to whatever elements there are in a society. So talking about my Orthodox family, my father is very practicing, mashallah. I think the only thing he is practicing that religion. This is interesting. When you come from a very practicing family, you yourself are not. And then sort of down the line, you feel guilty, and then you become practicing again, But I think it takes a good turn because, for example, when you have an Orthodox family that is very, very religious, they and we're talking about a Pashtun people, these people are currently one of the people that are ruling Afghanistan. They're really strong. They're really strong when it comes to culture. Sometimes they even They even, let go their religion, but not their culture. Like, of course, religion is their main thing. And when you're born in that environment and then you sort of go away and then come back, but you come back with a lot of information, a lot of education. And now your aim is to make your own people better. So you are following the Islam in some ways better than them. Maybe they don't look at it that way. And I think all of us can relate to that. When your father is very religious, your mother is very religious, and then they just don't answer your questions. They just tell you, this is what it is. You follow this.
Right.
So this is the initial stages, and that's the rebellious behavior. I think I was a very nice rebellious person. It's like I want to rebel, but then my father would slap me, and then I don't want to be rebellious. But it did get me into my marriage at a very early age. So I got married at, for
MashaAllah.
example, 19 years old. And for the first 5-6 years, it was very hard to accept. It was very hard to accept. I couldn't tell people I was married because I grew up in a very conservative family, but my friends were all from a different side. Yeah, they were not from my side. I mean to say, when I say my side in Pakistan, you have majorly 4 or 5 provinces that are different cultures, and the Pashtun are very, very conservatives. The Punjabis are more liberal. So not per se I was liberal, but I was hanging out with liberal people, and you feel shy, to sometimes tell them at the age when they're planning to enroll in their universities, I'm basically getting married, to the point that none of my friends came to my marriage, to my wedding. Nobody knew about it. I didn't tell anyone. And that's another funny story, because I actually
That's
told
deep.
them, this is a very funny story. I would like to say it as well. After school, when they were going for university, we used to hang out every night. It was like without call, without anything, you reach that, the common ground wherever we were chilling. And because I knew what was going to happen, if I'm not there for 3 days, they're going to think what happened. So I told them, guys, I'm not going to be there for another 2-3 days. My cousin is getting married. Yeah. And that was so funny that now you do understand that, my other cousins are also friends with them. And they came on the last day of my wedding. They went to that place, the common hanging place, hanging ground, yeah? And the cousins were really shocked at my very, very close friends. They're like, why are you guys not there? They asked where. The cousins reply, at the wedding of your friend. I said, no, it's not his wedding, it's his cousin's wedding. Like, what, is that what he told you? And that was so funny. They started texting me in the middle of the night, I think at 11, 12 a.m. It's my first wedding night, and I'm receiving texts from my friends. Like, I don't know what to make of it. They were all very disappointed. 12 years down the line, they still complain about my wedding's food. I said, where is it? I said, every Friday on Andeli.
It's
Yeah.
full circle, man. And Delhi back again. It's full circle.
And I
Yeah.
didn't know catering services.
First time I heard that myself.
First time, man. I guess Miraj the
So I got a question, brother, about that, like, the marriage and everything like that. Like, you're like people don't know, like, you're really an entrepreneur for real, 10 toes down into the game, right? And you have a very successful, mashallah, organization right now. So when you're married and you're an entrepreneur and it's early, sometimes there's uncertainty, like with that, right? Mixing all those together becomes an interesting challenge, right? That you can either meet or not meet, right? So how did this decision impact your journey with entrepreneurship? And how did you learn from these intertwining personal commitments? Like, what did you learn from this type of experience?
So when I got married, you also have to keep in mind that coming from a very conservative family also had its very good, also had its advantages. And what were those advantages? That was that you're now in a very big house where your brothers are there to support you, your sister-in-laws are there to support you, your family is there to support you. So my wife was being taken care of more by my family members than by me. So, when you're in a house alone, when you're in a separate house, you also have to think about your family in that case. But when you're in an when you're like in a connected household, that helps. That was one. The second was that it was a very early age, and I was still rebellious after marriage. So I still was asking my family, and like, no, I still want to study. That is still pending because I got married right after school, high school, and I still wanted to study. So I put it in their mind. I said, this is a red flag. I need to study. I need to study. Did I study? Half and half, because I was only partially able to complete it. The responsibilities did not. I'll be very honest. To be honest, my entrepreneurial journey in the beginning was very easy, because everybody was very supportive. Why was everybody very supportive? I realized that just a few months ago, because think about it this way: when you know something, you're going to support it. It's when you don't know something, you don't get it, then you don't support it. Think about something that's really hard to understand. You just sort of leave it. Okay, this is not my game. So it's always that sort of scenarios. And I realized that very, very recently, because now I'm taking bigger steps. Now I'm going through the hard time. Now the hard time is in front of me. And it looks like that this hard time, you just have to make peace with it. There is no make yourself stronger so the hard time is less. No, you just have to make peace with it and like, okay, this is the journey I have chosen. You will have it easy more in the beginning than you'll have it in the later. I would like to tell people, like, don't let anybody fool you. Everybody will be actually supportive when you start something. When you're in the initial stages, they will understand the idea. They will support you. My friends were probably one of I don't know if anybody else has those sort of friends, but nobody opposed. Not one. I can't recall one person that said, it's not a good idea," except my family. Of course, my father was an earlier entrepreneur than me, but then the 2006 Doha and the 2006 post Doha is definitely different than 2006 pre Doha. This is a line I always like to put. Before 2006, not so much capitalism, okay, in the country. It was very community-based or a society. And then 2006 onwards, the first Asian game took place. The rents of the houses started going high up. You had international businesses coming in. And you can also see that now. I mean, with all these boycotts, the Starbucks and everything, now you see that local business is emerging and the behavior of the consumer is also changing in this case. So what I wanted to say is that my father was a really good entrepreneur. He was one of the most known person. He is the most known person in the society, because I grew up in Doha, but that's not the catch part. We moved to Doha in 1950s, just after the war in Pakistan,
Wow.
So my family is more in Qatar than, my relatives are more in Qatar than in even Pakistan. But we are both. We're basically in no man's land right now. We do have Pakistani passport, but we're not accepted there. And we're also not accepted in Qatar. So we're Qataris without passports. That's the best definitions we can give ourselves.
Then basically, bro, you're an expat, bro, man. You're one of us.
Yeah, that's what it
You're
is.
one of us,
You
bro. You're an
see,
expat, bro.
also don't fit there. I also don't fit in Pakistan. I also don't fit in the local society. You see, like I'm basically, watching you guys. I'm the crowd. I'm
You're the
the
crowd.
crowd.
But let's take it a step back, bro. Let's take it a step back, because
Right.
obviously I know you're an entrepreneur and you've gone so far on your journey. And one of the biggest things about entrepreneurs is creating your own path. Like I've known you for almost 6 years now, alhamdulillah, and I've seen the growth in these 6 years, and I've seen the chances and the moments that you've taken. But no one knows the failures you had behind you. Everyone only sees your success. You know what I'm saying? No one knows the risks you took and the strategies and the plays you've made. So I remember you telling me about you had an epiphany to Poland a while back, and you spoke about how Poland was a game changer and it shifted your mind and it was a catalyst. So let's talk about that. Like, what happened exactly in Poland, and what made you something happened in Poland that basically gave you some kind of like profound insight. So let's talk about that.
It's an interesting one. Okay, Poland was one of my first countries other than Pakistan that I traveled to. So part of my past is also that I was a crazy sportsman. I was like one of the best in the country, okay? Very prominent as well. And because I did not have passport, they only gave me the opportunity to go for the training in Poland. And I was always, regardlessly, just selected in the national team all the time. But when you go to the national team selection, I mean, so you're selected, you know that you're going to the national team. It's when you are there on the first day, they put you in the team B because you're not Qatari. So regardless of how good you are, they will always put you in team B. The team A goes for tournaments, and the team B goes for something called the camps. The camps are majorly they're international camps, and sometimes they're local as well. And I went to Poland with them the first time. Of course, being the best player did have its perks. Everybody wants to talk to me. That wasn't I think it was more to do with I spoke English as well, and none of the other people spoke English. So whoever could speak English in Poland would always, talk to me. But I was also good, so of course, part of that was also there because there were other people that could speak English as well. Now, what happened is that there is an embarrassing story. Okay, embarrassing story in a sense that there were younger players and there were older players like myself. So I was older, and the older ones, on the last 2 days, we were not having any training. This camp was extremely crazy. We had to wake up at 5 a.m. and there's a 2.5 hours of running in the morning. Then we come for breakfast. Then we rest for half an hour, 1 hour. Then we go for training again for 3 hours. Then we eat. Then we have rest for 2 hours. Then we go for another 2 hours training, and then we sleep very early. So when the 3 weeks camp was over, everybody was really looking forward to some sort of rest. This was 3 weeks nonstop. It was crazy. Like I got inflammation all in my body, yeah, and so everybody was just looking for that sort of خلاص, I'm done. I don't want to go for any more training. And what happened is that all of these guys, I was not a very leadership oriented person back then. I was more of a follower because I'm actually introvert. Okay, I've realized that. It's just with a little bit of extrovert qualities. I like to speak to people, but I don't like to speak to group of people. If I see someone alone, I will attack. But if I a group, my instincts don't allow it. Yeah. So we go out, and it's Poland. I go from a country. The woman was something different for us. Okay, we go to a country where woman is everywhere. I'm like, I want to move here. It's an embarrassing story, and the thing is that it gets embarrassing more because I'm not the one who did anything. Okay, and I'm with these guys, and some of them, a majority of them are Qatari, and there were only 2 guys that were Pakistanis, and only the 2 guys got the blame. Okay, and those were 2 Pakistanis. Imagine. So all of us, we were just hanging around, and then they caught us with those mixed gathering. And for them, it was a red flag. There were 2 red flags. One, how can you mix with the Polish people? Not with the guys, with the girls. Okay, that was the red flag. Okay, so they were mixed. Okay, the second big problem was that we were wearing national clothes, national tracksuits with Qatar name on it, which I agree with. Okay, now what's the problem? The problem is that place where we were gathering was a park with a swimming pool. That specific day, to our luck, was 25 degrees with sun. Half of Poland was naked. So we were taking pictures in that area with our tracksuits, okay? And only 2 guys got the backlashes. And I'm telling you, there were like at least 20 of us, okay? But only 2 of us got the backlash. They had to make a report. They had to say that there was an incident, and there were these 2 guys only. So the only 2 guys that got the backlash was the 2 Pakistanis. And there's a funny story. I only knew this guy was Pakistani on the third last day. I thought all this time he was Qatari. He also thought I was Qatari. So we kind of didn't hang out the whole time.
Mm.
Okay. And when we were going back to the airport, nobody wants to talk to me. Now I'm guilty because they are making me feel guilty. I realized that later when I came, I'm like, but wait, there were so many people. There were so many people that went on that track, that had that experience. I went from the person who was the most looked upon a guy in the national team in that specific trip. We are in the national team. We're at the airport right now, and those guys that were looking at me, and they kind of expressed that, Maraj, you're my idol. I want to be like you, because it was really good. I'm telling you, there's no bragging. It was amazing. Let's say they went
No
from,
bragging.
I mean, whatever it is, they went from I look up to you to you're not a good person, Maraj, because they were younger, right? You think about, like, I was 16, they were 14, so they were in that phase, like, oh, you're not a good influence. And then the year later, I saw that I was not selected in national team, and I saw the pictures. That broke my heart, because for me, national team was not important. It was the traveling part. It was the traveling part. That was so sad. And I was thinking, I'm like, what can I do? What can I do to make myself feel better? It was always some sort of a thought process, whatever was going through my mind. I was thinking, what can I do to make this to make myself feel better? Because this is gonna keep on continuing. They're gonna go without me every year to different places, and I'm gonna be seeing those photos. And I was like, I don't know if pursuing the same route is going to be an option anymore, because I've been banned from national team, okay, the books. So no matter what I do, I'm not going to achieve what I want to achieve. Instead, I started looking at different alternative routes, and that's where my brother, my elder brother, plays a very big role in the success. Usually, your father um, raises you up, right? My father was very strict, as I mentioned many times. On Saturdays, which is not a Friday, Friday was off in Doha, so no school on Friday, but Saturday also no school, right? Yeah, it's not an off day for us, because my father owns a shop, a street of shops for car workshops, and he has a lot of stuff that he wants to move from block A to block B. So there was no point of setting it up, because in the end it was still messy. The point was that the four brothers that we are total four brothers, shouldn't be home not doing anything. That was my father's mentality, okay? Which was good as well. It made it more workaholic. But my brother was initially the person that really took the hits, He's like, Maraj, they want all of us to work according to whatever they want. But you know what? You go pursue whatever it takes to do. Go do internships, This was a newer sort of behavior that came into being. Like, internships were not very known at the time I was getting one. Work, jobs, I don't know, go study, do whatever you want, okay? Don't think about the family. So the brother was taking a lot of hits. And I think then the journey of the entrepreneurship starts from precisely there, in 2011. There is an interesting story, but unless you guys want to ask me a question, I will tell you the story later.
No, we'll.
So
I like this.
yeah, we
Sorry.
want to get into this one.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
wouldn't.
right?
I wanna.
Yes.
No, I like. No, no. This obviously is the epiphany, and this is
Right.
the starting point of where everything started. And I kind of wanted to touch upon one thing, because, uh, you know, in this on this podcast we speak about a lot about Deen, and you, Miraj, you and I speak a lot about Deen as well, and how Deen. It's funny how we're all on this journey, but yet we're on different journeys at the same time. Like, we're on the same journey, but we're on different parts of the same journey. And you speak a lot about your father and how your father was strict. And I also have the same similar upbringings, whether you're in Pakistan or you're in Qatar or you're in Canada. We say it's strict, but is it really strict? So You spoke about putting faith. Now, you put faith in the power of your business, but before that, you found it as a source, a source of peace in shaping your future. Okay, back then you didn't know this, but now you know. You know what I'm saying? And let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about how faith in the beginning you're kind of rebellious, but I also had a similar kind of thing, and I know Hamza had a similar thing, not in terms of like as a Muslim, but in terms of searching for the truth. And then once he found the truth, he is where he is right now. And for us, we were rebellious, uh, probably by the way the religion was taught to us, but we were not rebellious to the religion. We were more so rebellious to our fathers, and that's kind of turned us off from the religion. But then now that we're older and we're more wiser and we have better ways to understand it, it has shaped our futures. So let's talk about how religion, how it first came to you, how you went through your journey, and then basically how where you are right now. Okay.
Correct. Okay. So, um, if you had approached me about a year ago, I wouldn't have answered to these questions, but I figured that there is a deeper understanding to these things, okay? First off, before my entrepreneurship, I worked with the government corporation for about a year, okay? And before that, I sort of was not very close to Islam at all. Like prayer, that was not a thing on my mind at all. This was going on. This is because I was kind of uh, how do you call it? Like I was taken away. I was taken away with that liberal side of the society. This is when things were happening in Doha, and I was like thinking to myself just before I joined the government work, the government corporation. See, working for government corporation does have a benefit. It pays you on time. That's one. Second, you don't have to do anything, so you have a lot of time for yourself. So you reflect on your religion and yourself, right? But at the same time, when I before joining, I was thinking that where has the religion gone? I don't see people that are praying anymore. And when I joined the government corporation, I started seeing more. And then I realized it's not it's not it's not going away. It's where you are. So if you're in nightclubs, of course you're not going to see religious people. But if you're in the masjid, you're not going to see non-Muslims or non-religious people. And then the first issue for me is the first fitna, right? The Shia and the Sunni. I said, the Shia and the Sunni, why are they fighting? Aren't they Muslims? So I started digging deep. I dig so deep that this was the first time I actually started liking. I started liking to write. So I started making notes. I was listening to every other, understanding what is the issue because I really wanted to get to the bottom of it. And I did, to the point the Shias could not debate with me because I was like, here are the facts, and those are the facts they know about. But when you sort of support an ideology, then then opposing is not an option, regardless of the wrong facts. And that's where I started understanding more about religion. Then entrepreneurship does take you away from religion in the beginning, I would have to say. Because in the beginning, you see, a true entrepreneur does not care about money at first. To the point then he doesn't care about anything, then the money. And that is when the person becomes religious. Okay? Because the success or is in the beginning, when you're not worried about money, you don't really pray because what you really want is to get stuff done. But when it's about money, money usually comes from God, okay? And you start asking for money because you don't ask for success. Now, whoever tells you I don't care about money is wrong because indirectly he does. He wouldn't be going ahead if there was no reward in it. A reward could be anything. We call it money. Let's just call it money, but it could be anything. Okay. Um, COVID is really a turning point in my life. Okay, that's when I started seeing that maybe I'm useless because when when you are part of a system, it's different how you operate when you're part of a system, as opposed to when you create a system and run it. And that's COVID. Before COVID, I was part of a system. When the system shut down, I'm not an autonomous body, so I'm going to shut down as well. That is really a turning point. And be very honest, I'm a late bloomer to everything. So I was a late bloomer there as well. It took me time to get back on my feet. And this was the first time I actually read something about psychology. So I started doing courses on psychology. That's where I started investing a lot in myself. I started educating myself more and more on psychology. And then I started reading about philosophy. And that's where I started to understand religion so much better, because everything in religion is related to philosophy. There is a philosophy behind every single thing in the religion. And I mean, so many thoughts now. I'm actually, consumed by my own thoughts talking about it.
No, I see it in your head, like you're thinking right now, like, oh, there's so many avenues I want to go down. You know what I mean? So like, I have a question about your self-discovery, right? Because you mentioned something key as a late bloomer. Okay,
Correct.
what are the benefits of being a late bloomer? How did it benefit you?
A late bloomer is more like that game, Angry Birds? What are the birds attached to? I forgot the word in English.
Slingshot.
Yeah, it's like slingshot.
Oh, slingshot. Yeah, slingshot.
Yeah.
So a late bloomer is like a slingshot, okay? It takes time to be released. But you know what the late bloomer is what is happening to the late bloomer? Somebody is trying to get him in the shape and like stretching him as further as he can, so that he can go as far as he can the fastest. So it does have benefits, because I noticed that in my entrepreneurship journey when I had a former business partner. He's the one I learned a lot from. But then I would say I aced in everything he started, and that's because in the beginning I didn't understand anything. And I was trying to understand. And I think I was humble in understanding, because a lot of entrepreneurs in the beginning would get offended at the behavior of their partners, but I was a bit understanding. And, this late bloomer, I think I also realized it in the last 3 years, I would say. Does that answer your question, Hamza, by the way?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's your answer, right? We're trying to unveil like what
Who
it
you
meant
are.
for you.
Who you
Because
are,
it was very important for you to be a late bloomer, right? And then for that to be something that you're actually proud of and that you own, and that's part of your journey. So yeah, but the hold on, but the business partner though, I want to go back to that.
Yes, let's talk about that turning point.
Yeah, go ahead, AB. Ask the question,
No,
AB, because that's what I want to hold on.
Exactly. So it's funny that you touched upon the business partner, because running a business isn't black and white. There's so many gray areas, and a lot of people learn more. They should learn more from their failures rather than their success. And when your business partner left, it was a huge turning point for your business and for you as well, as a person and as a businessman. And let's elaborate on the leadership qualities and the challenges you faced from his departure. Like how did that feel? What did that made you feel like? Because right now, me and Hamza are both, we run the podcast. So if Hamza was to leave right now and this podcast was to be run by me, it would be very difficult. So this is one half of the podcast, and he's the other half of the podcast. So for you, he was one half of 365, and you're the other half. And to have someone that you can lean on and depend on and go through these failures with is much easier when you are it's much easier rather than you taking all the blows to yourself. So how did that feel, and what was that like?
It's so interesting. Actually, I can talk about this specific topic, for hours. And next time, try not to, give example of your both, because it can be effective. Because you guys will probably get some sort of impacts from this. Okay, so it has a lot of things, but also it has a lot of good sides. Okay, now look, the business partner I had was one and a half year younger to me. You know the effects of somebody being younger to you. Okay, you can't accept a lot of successes from them. But I think for me, it was not about, in the beginning, as I said, it wasn't about money. Now, remember earlier I mentioned that there's a funny story. There's a very interesting story. This business partner of mine was my high school friend, but only high school friend. He's not my childhood friend. So I moved from a different school and I met this guy and we were talking about Dean. Oh, this is very interesting. Okay, we're now touching really interesting points, and
I love that you're excited. Let's go, man.
yeah,
Let's go.
it has these points of religion in there that are so interesting. Okay, so 2010, I'm 1.5 years older than him, so I get driving license first. I have a car. He's the brain. At this point, he's the brain. I'm the muscles. Okay. He wants to go for a lot of leadership courses or workshops, and I'm the muscles. And he doesn't have a car. He lives far. I pick him up, and in return, he teaches me how to play guitar. I had this, hobby of learning guitar. Don't forget, my family is ultra conservative. Okay, and about 3-4 months down the line, my mother found the guitar in the car. She almost wanted to kill me with the guitar, but she held herself. But you know what? Wallahi, she made a dua. I swear to God. And this is no joke. She said, I hope Ma'raj, that first she was very disappointed. So of course, it's a lot of, culturally, they have to first do the culture part, then the religion part. The religion part was, I hope Ma'raj that your heart becomes so dark to this guitar. I don't know what the hell happened. I did not touch that guitar anymore. I didn't feel like playing. So I'm like, that guitar, that lessons of guitar was my gateway with that high school friend to go to those places. Now I don't know if I want to take him. But anyways, we ended up going. In 2011, we both get an opportunity. I have a driver's license and I have a car. And on that specific day, I didn't have a car. He still made it to the internship interview. He gets selected, of course. I didn't go for the interview, so I purposely did not. I basically didn't get selected. This is where our journey started from. 2 years down the line, he recommends me to his chairman, and I do crazy, and basically they love me. And now it's 2014. 2014 is when I come up with this. I'm still a late bloomer, okay? And this is where I get my major epiphany. So the 2009 was a mini epiphany. The 2014 was a major epiphany, where I really understood what it takes to do a business, how to do a business, what is business. I started understanding. I had an advantage of all my uncles, all my cousins, everybody around me was entrepreneur and business people. So by default, I inherit that, right? Leadership and business and tradesmanship is, in my opinion, more inheritance than you learn how to be in it. If you learn how to be in it, that's a different story, but you burn out faster than if you inherit it. And that was the interesting story, yeah? So this person is now, in 2013, when I did the interview, let me tell you this, that friend of mine was CEO of that company. From an internship, he did so good that he became CEO, and now he is hiring me as a logistics coordinator. But he did not do that in order to show me that, Ma'raj, you're nobody, you're nothing. He was a very good friend, and I learned a lot from him. Then in 2016, that's where I wanted to move to Canada, because I traveled to US and I really liked it, and I was like, Qatar is not for me, and I want to study. Although I was married, this is a very long story, but to cut it in short, I called this person. His name is Abdurrahman, by the way, but his short was AB, yeah? And when I had to replace it with another one.
Competition.
Listen, bro. Allah connects those who are loved, man. Don't play with that, bro.
Easy, right?
Just like that.
So I called this, yeah. So of course, in 2014, I leave the company. I come up with this lifestyle guide, a healthy lifestyle guide. It doesn't go through. I leave, I do whatever it takes me to do. And in 2016, I give him a call. I'm like, hey, brother, what's up? I just wanted to ask you, are you planning to are you planning to further pursue your studies? And he said, yeah. I said, I was thinking of Canada, you know? He's like, I don't know. I mean, his reaction was so priceless. Like, you know, I've already done all my research on Canada. I'm actually going there. So it was a very interesting point. We didn't end up going to Canada. We opened the company together. But to be very honest, I really did not take the leadership position in the first 1 to 2 years. I just became an operations guy. I think it was all innate that God wanted me to learn everything and then show when He would leave in 2021. Everybody thought that we were the most complementing partners ever. He was the exact opposite. He was the bad cop. I was the nicest cop you could come across. Even the team, you know, uh, even the team when we were splitting, they all said, not to me, but to, you know, like other people. It's like if it was that Abdurrahman would have stayed in the country and Maraj would have left, I think all of them would have left because they wanted to be around me. But also, it comes with a bad thing. He's like, but we didn't know if the company would succeed if Maraj stayed. I don't know what made them say that. You know, that was their honest answer. They said that you're so lenient, you have no worries at all. You're not stressed, or you don't look stressed. And long story short, I read this quote, and I was before I go to the quote part, I was a bit hesitant of running this company, but I think I had to make myself. I had to make peace with myself. And but why? Why not? Let me try myself. You know, like there's a short talks. You always do short talks with you, especially if you're a guy, definitely. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I was sort of like just absorbing, you know, the hits. And then 2022 comes and you have all these quotes about the World Cup. And one of the quote was, I think that quote really changed me, I swear. Who won the World Cup? Messi, right? But Messi lost the World Cup to Saudis. And there was this guy who made a small reel uh, about Messi. It says that in 2014, Argentina were finalists, right? Or finalists, and they lost to
Finalist, yeah.
Germany. Yeah, okay. And there, Maradona was there, standing there. And who was god of football in Argentina when Maradona was there? Maradona, right?
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
just 1 year before World Cup or 2 years before World Cup, Maradona passed away. What happens when a leader passes away?
He passes his
There's a
torch.
vacuum and somebody, huh? He
I
passes
said,
his
oh
torch.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, that's another way to look at it, but there's a vacuum and somebody has to fill that vacuum. What happens when you don't have anyone above you? Now you have yourself to depend on. You truly show your leadership qualities, right? That's what Messi did, by the way. He went crazy after games. He was showing he's not a human, he's alien. And this person was saying that Maradona is no more there. He is the leader. He has to become the leader, and he will show because there's no one above him anymore. You know, there is no insecurity anymore that Maradona is there and he is the greatest football Argentina had. Because Maradona was a very alpha male. Messi is not an alpha male, right? So um, automatically you get into this situation where you have to show your alpha alpha traits, you know, traits. Okay. Now, what's interesting as well is that I always tell my friends and said, "Go, guys. You might call me a control freak," and this all started happening in 2021. You might call me a control freak, but I'm not control freak until I sense incompetence. Okay, and this is, of course, a funny one because I make fun of my friends.
Yeah, man. But
Yeah. So that's really interesting when you talk about like leadership, right? Because you're right, there is a vacuum that happens, but there's a period of uncertainty, right? So when you stepped in, what was your plan to be successful? right? What did you vision that actually happened?
I think one of the greatest blessings in life was that, wallahi, I have to say this, that I had friends like the group we share, AB.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that friends like you because, it's too much sugar coating. But yeah, the group we share, it's, you know, it's hard to compliment the person when you're talking to him. But the group we share was very interesting group. Um, what I had was a lot of knowledge about Islam, but I never was able to kind of put it in real life. This group made me do that, okay? And when you ask me what was my plan, once you're more religious, you believe in the word tawakkul more and more, right? And you start
Yes.
to understand the power of that word. And I think that tawakkul is one of the secrets to success. I have to give it to that, okay? You need
Mm-hmm.
to have more faith in the word tawakkul or in the faith itself. And that was always that God is the best of planners. I started looking
Facts.
at everything in a different manner. If thing didn't go automatically, I would just be thinking like God has something else for me. I need to start figuring that out. But then I was like, should I even interfere in God's work? No, right? Okay, I just carry on. So there was no plan. I think you want to ask me that if there was a vision. Am I right?
Yes.
I can answer you
Correct.
that one, yeah? Because a plan, definitely not. But vision, 100% yes. The vision was always organization, not a company. Organization is different, okay?
Mm.
When you have an organization, you don't have employees. You have people then. It's different, okay? When you have people that rely on you, then you're not a company, then you're an organization. When you start to create your own agenda, you are an organization then. When you have these systems flowing in and like people having internal meetings with each other and it's all like going according to plan, then you're not a company, then you're an organization. Have I achieved that organization? Part of it, yes. It's happening. I have a lot of competent people in the company that I can rely on, and I always give this example, guys. That you need to start relying on yourself. Maraj is not going to be always there. I really hate it when I'm the center of attention. Being introvert does not bode with it really well. Okay. Um, I'll give you a very quick example, okay? This Saudi trip, just a month ago, we did a crazy, crazy Saudi trip, okay? I made a whole announcement about it on social media, on different areas. But if you really ask me, I had friends that were the guests basically, all the people that were in the car or with the trip when they were doing whatever they were doing. For example, somebody's setting a tent, somebody's putting on what do you call barbecue, somebody's putting on fire, somebody's driving the car. It's like I hated my name in that trip. I started hating my name. It was like, Maraj, the road is closed ahead of you. And I'm like, bro, I'm also here first time. Just, I don't know if there's another road to it. Like, Maraj, the navigation says go right, but there's no road on the right. I'm like, yeah, I know. I mean, I don't know what to do about it because it's also my first time. Somebody wants to put fire. It's like, Maraj, the fire is not working. I'm like, I'm not god of fire or something. I started hating my name. It's like I was center of attention. Like they cannot put tents and they're waiting for me. So you know what I started doing half of the trip? When we were camping or when we were doing something, I made myself asleep. So, they start taking actions on their own. They start initiating, you know, it was so funny. Like if I could make a full vlog about it, it was such an interesting trip because we had, fights about this. Why are you guys calling my name? Take actions yourself, like take initiative yourself.
SubhanAllah, bro. It's funny you mentioned that because a lot of the things you say, teachers do it in the classroom. And I want to share like a correlation between what you said right now and what I do. Children, typically, because we're adults, they depend on us and they lean on us and they ask us questions and they say, so it's very hard. One of the hardest thing for a teacher is to spark independence. You want your students to be independent, because when they go into the real world, you're not gonna be there. And you right now, you have that same problem, or you have the same problem with your employees, or whatever you want to call them, employees or people, where even though you're experiencing the same thing for the first time with them, because you are the leader, you're also naturally the problem solver. And when you're the problem solver, you're basically just you're the main brain that thinks for everyone else. And after a while, that gets tiring. So that's an issue as a CEO, as a leader, or whatever it is, because you want to spark independent thought. You want your people to be by themselves and move on their own and be autonomous and make these decisions. So when these big boy decisions come, you have more brain power to decide for these bigger choices rather than fixating on every little thing. And you can't micromanage. It slows you down. Like, and the best of leaders are the ones that don't micromanage, because you want people that think critical, people that are autonomous, people that are organized. And it's a very hard thing to find, because you have to find the right people and place them in the right systems so the system flows.
It's so interesting. You know what you said, AB. This is a
Mm-hmm.
different. You're basically shedding, and it's interesting to get a different perspective as well. It's very interesting.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. But
So,
sorry, Hamza. I
yeah,
just wanted to dive in because I just wanted
yeah. Do you
to
think?
piggyback off this one, because
Yeah.
you spoke about people, okay, and not employees. People, all right. And for those who don't know, Miraj is the owner of 365 Adventures. MashaAllah, very successful business, grassroots, homegrown, and then alhamdulillah now branching in 3 or 4 other countries in the Gulf. MashaAllah.
Facts.
And
MashaAllah.
and people don't understand the amount of work you do behind the scenes. And one of the biggest things you put effort, because I know you personally. So one of the biggest efforts you do is you foster and you cultivate your connections with people. And in the tourism business, it's all about connections. It's doing a favor for someone and then trying to cash it in 10 years from now. Or you have a very good eye for long vision. Like, you have a very good eye. You have such good foresight. And I've noticed that about you, where you would do something where, to me, I'd be like, why are you doing that? And you see things so far ahead of yourself. So my question to you basically is that,
MashaAllah.
like, how do you maintain all these people, these relationships, these connections? How do you maintain it? Because you are you have your own inner circle, you have your family. Oh, sorry, you have your family. Then you have your circle, like the boys. Then you have your people, your employees. So how do you maintain all these people and you juggle these kinds of interactions? Like, so it's because it's kind of overwhelming at times. Trying to maintain and juggle all these things. So how do you do it? And what is the most significance that you do?
Um, Definitely very overwhelming. It's not easy to do, but there are measures you put in place. One is that you embrace technology. Okay, technology really helps because you're talking to a person right now who's not one single member of the team is in the place where I live. I live in Riyadh. I've immigrated to Riyadh from Doha. There's not one person that lives in Riyadh from 365 Adventures. So I'm operating from Riyadh through technology, and then I sort of fly my family in and out, and then I sort of fly in the team members as well. There are a lot of internal meetings, online, everything. And nobody's allowed to not have cameras not on. If you want to have if we're having meeting, you definitely need to have your camera on because the team was becoming not vampires, zombies. I don't know, vampires. They were like basically it was a there was an environment of people not knowing other people in the company, and I'm like, guys, we're not even 30 people, like we're barely 30 people. You need to know all of your um you the key word is efforts. You need to put efforts. Nothing will happen. time, you actually have a lot of time in the day if you think about it. You have 16 hours, right? If you remove the phone from it, you basically get all the 16 hours to yourself. Social media is the killer of the time. And I deleted Instagram and try to organize more meetings, and then also the friends were flying in and out. I think I have this thing that whoever is around me gets to fly a lot. Like my team members, whoever was my team members, for example, one of them is Ifra. She has flown in the past 1 year more than she has flown in the past 25 years. you know I mean, in different places. It's just what I think, the energy that comes the energy that comes with it. So effort, technology, it just, for me, distance is not an issue, honestly. I mean, I reach out to people in Colombia. Only issue is I need to be available at their morning, and they need to be available at my evening, right? So that's the only issue. But apart from that, it's also, I think more. I think if you want to mention, there are harder issues. That is that we have people across 4 time zones. That's very hard to connect. Okay, that's not just hard. The time zones are fine, but there's also different times in time zones. So, for example, sorry, I think the time zones refer to different times, right? Across 4 regions or 4 continents. You have South America, North America, Europe, and then Asia. So basically, cover half of the world, right? More than half of the world. And then you have so many different time zones that you're like, okay, and we have like one central time. And because Qatar is the headquarters, so we always refer to Qatar as the central time. And that's for the professional side. Friends, honestly, they all miss me a lot because I was the guy who was basically going to the most random places, figuring things out. They were always telling me, they always tell me until today, is like, you're being missed in Doha because after you, nobody wants to take initiatives. And I think I also realized from that I was not a very announcing kind of leader. I was a more silent leader. It's like trying to get things done in my own way. Do I want to call myself leader? Like, this is a very interesting question I always ask myself. Okay, I don't like to think in a manner where it's all about me, right? But I do like to reflect on myself. 1.5 years ago, I wouldn't call myself a leader. I would be doubting myself, But today, I can proudly say, yeah, there were so many issues. The World Cup was one of the biggest turning points, in the history of the Arab world, not just Qatar. 99% of the companies made losses in World Cup. 99%, I'm not kidding. Basically, Qatar doesn't have businesses after World Cup. It was the best World Cup in the world, yes, organization-wise, and I accept it. And I have to say, I love the country, but I have to say, and you have to accept this, it was the worst World Cup when it comes to economic stability. It just destabilized the whole country. Everything has been destabilized, okay? You can see, Abdullah is living, for example, in Doha before World Cup and after World Cup. 100% difference. 100%. Not just, it was different. No, 100% difference. World Cup was like, Qatar entered this wall, which looked like a wall, but then it was another dimension after it. It's a different country, I'm not a big fan of the politics in the country. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, that's real. I always love your honesty because you've always been honest, and it's your reflection and perspective. You know what I mean? What do you think could have happened to maybe stave off some of that? The economic or the lack of economic opportunity. Because a lot of people feel the way you feel as well, and they feel like things have skyrocketed. People have lost on opportunities. What do you think would have been different?
Before I answer this question, I'm always very honest, except when it comes to my wife. There you have to be diplomat, that's an that's an advice. Yeah,
That
you
should,
still
that
can
should
be
be
honest.
that should be clipped right there. That's a clip right
That's a
there.
clip.
That's a heavy fact.
Definitely writing it
That's
down right
a
now.
that's a clip right
Yeah,
there.
that's honesty right there as well. Okay.
No. That is
Um,
no, no. That is wisdom right there. That is wisdom.
Right.
good thing my wife doesn't understand English very well, so I can say whatever I want, by the way. Okay. Um, it's a good question. Honestly, Hamza, that's such an interesting question. Wallahi, I would be honored to answer this question at also a very professional platform if there was a chance. I definitely think I'm a very qualified person to speak on Doha's sort of
Absolutely.
ecosystem, you know? And I mean, to be honest, the World Cup was there are two answers, okay? This is gonna be very controversial. I have to say that. Did the government want a different World Cup? 100% no. No. It actually went in favor of the whatever the leadership wanted. They wanted less people, less chaos. Um, they wanted more people to convert to Islam. It worked, by the way. The best World Cup
Mm-hmm.
to showcase Islam was this one. Actually, I would say that Qatar is one of the
SubhanAllah.
only countries that I'm not gonna say this one, you know. But it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Qatar did a good job when it comes to Islam. Okay, um, the leadership was not in favor of a huge numbers. But then there were a lot of mixed feelings. Okay, if you're not in favor of the the crowd that you want to attract, why did you allow so many properties to be built? Because properties will bring more jobs, right? But then when those properties don't do well, then there is a vacuum. Now, if there is no vacuum, then it's okay, but don't create the vacuum. So it's like, it's different when you open a new phase of the city to be inhabited by people. Then you open, but then it cannot be inhabited. So if the need wasn't there, why did you create it? Don't create the need if it doesn't have to be. Qatar, look, I grew up in Qatar, right? So I don't blame the country for the biggest event in the world to be treated differently, okay? What's the history? The history has been always Dubai companies coming on board, Turkish companies coming on board, and sort of carrying out all the operations. What is 365 Adventures? It's in the end a local company. The local companies don't get any recognition. Even if you are, for example, Urido, I mean, even Urido, for example, probably didn't get all the rights, like they were probably getting like other people from outside. So it's a very very long topic, starting with the first element from 2011. They won the bid in 2011. I remember that really well. Either 2011 or 10, but they won the bid in 2011 or 10. There has been no work done until the last 365 days. And also, it was so shocking. I think, AB, you were there when we used to chill in the base camp, and we're like, how is the World Cup gonna happen in the next 3 days? Nothing is ready. You remember that, right? I took
Of course.
Mitalzi, I took one of our friends, common friends, to Gataifan Island. And I'm shocked how Gatifan Island has changed so much, and and the common friend is shocked at how is it not ready at all. And he's like, man, how are they gonna have World Cup? And I'm shocked about a different thing, and he's shocked about a different thing. The reason being, he was there first time. I was there 3 days ago. 3 days ago, the place was barren land. 3 days later, at least it has roads. At least it has street lights. Okay, it's everything. It's a mess everywhere. And the common friend, Natalsi, he's like thinking, they're not ready. I'm like, my God, you don't understand, brother. There was nothing here 3 days ago. So I actually have a bit of faith now. I think there is going to be something, okay? Fast forward. I mean, the country was such a beautiful country on 21st of November that when visitors came from outside, they were saying that this is where you guys live? This is freaking heaven. I'm like, whatever you see, we see it for the first time too. This was not here yesterday, you know. It's like it all came from the from the skies, honestly. So it's a very complex topic, you know. We can't get into the
Yeah,
micros of it, yeah.
of course. I really wanted to ask you just because you've been here for so long. Your family's been here since 1950, right? So it's like I think you would be one person who could see it and say, "Well, I've been through it before, during, and after," right? And you're a businessman, a thriving businessman, mashallah. So I think you would be good to talk about it. We don't have to go through the whole lengths of everything, but what I would say is that I was shocked at how many Muslims did, how many people did convert to Islam and got exposure to Islam. Like that was something that was remarkable. And I remember my friends in the United States, it was a lot of kind of dirty propaganda about Qatar. And I thought that was unfair. And then when the friends came here, some of my high school friends came here, and they were like, wow, all the things they said in the US, I didn't see any of this. And that was the issue that I felt. Like, wow, the propaganda was so strong in the West. Like, well, this is what it is, guys. Come over here and you can realize why I'm here for 6 years. Alhamdulillah. So you know what I'm saying? And why I want to be here for more than 6 years. So that's the thing. So I appreciate you answering that. That's a minefield type of question. You know what I mean? But I've always appreciate.
I do have something to add. Yeah, since you mentioned propaganda, now you do have to understand that non-Qataris that they like to criticize the country, and I think, in my opinion, we have the right to criticize the country because we are born on that land, right? So I'm not criticizing Qatar; I'm criticizing the land. And when they were doing those propagandas, I was watching them, and I'm like, why are you guys doing that? There is so much real stuff you can actually show that is wrong.
Right.
It was so funny that they were doing wrong propaganda on wrong things. I'm like, I can bring you something. It was like that feeling, when you're born in the country and you're not getting the best of the country. So of course, you want some sort of expose something, and that was always in my mind. I'm like, please guys, just do the right ones, Yeah, go ahead.
Definitely. the wrong propaganda.
He's like, guys, just hit up my line. I got you guys.
Just talk to me. I will get you.
AB, you know how like you're saying like write to someone and then they say something that is completely what you thought they weren't going to say.
Oh my goodness, man.
When I said that, I was like, oh, okay, I see where he's going with that now.
I told you, bro.
But nah, that's real talk. That's real talk.
Meraj is a Pandora box, man. You don't know what you're gonna get.
Fact. That's a fact. That's part of the experience. You know what I mean? Man. So nah. But that's real.
No, but Meraj, it's crazy because obviously we've known each other for so long now. But in the West, obviously, but also here too, we have a thing called like work-life balance. So you've heard this on social media: work-life balance, all these things. And I know a guy like you clocks in 80 hours a week because as an entrepreneur, you don't have that 9 to 5 because you have like maybe 100 hours a week. Maybe one day you're working 30 hours, the next day you're working 50 hours. No one knows, you know what I'm saying? So there's a balance to it, and it's very important where you do work-life balance, and the way you structure your days and how you go about it obviously plays a big role, being a husband, being a father, and also what people forget is your personal time, dedicating time for yourself and your mental state, and we had this topic, me and you, heart to heart, where we spoke about your mental time also is part of your being spiritual, your time with God. It's a very important because that mental time that we say, me time, is supposed to be God time, Allah's time, So how do you balance it? Like, what do you do? Like, what does Meraj do on a day-to-day? And like, people don't know because you clock in 80 hours. Okay, so what is it that you do to decompress, and try to basically breathe?
So for starters, look, you have to. I think I have this rule of 5 and 2, and that's 5 days a week. Although it goes against all the odds of all the perks of entrepreneurship, but it's actually a good one. Fridays for my family specifically, and then the Thursday is Thursday. So wait, you have 7 and 2. So the 2 days you definitely take off Okay. You kind of don't want to work on those days. Okay. The Friday is usually for families, and Saturday was, spending with you guys. But I also have, I met you guys halfway down the road, right? AB. So you
Yeah.
guys are like my other group of friends. I also have the initial group of friends, right, that I grew up with, and those guys I hang out with on Thursday night. So my wife knows that there are 3 times of the week that she cannot disturb me. One is a Thursday night. The other one is a Friday afternoon. That's actually with them, with my wife itself, or with my family, relatives, whatever it is. And then the Saturday is with other group of friends. That's one. The other part is that when I'm with you guys, that's actually me time for me. That's my mental health. I like to stay away from loneliness as much as possible because the thoughts I get are very annoying, and not in the that time, but in the nighttime. When I have to sleep, then it's overwhelming amount of thoughts, and I wake up very tired. And I realized, I'm like, my God, I realized again what I did. So every time you think about something, and you woke up late, you woke up very tired, it's because your brain was still working, so you did not give time to your brain to zone out or buzz off. So I think one habit also that helped me really well was reading Quran in the night, with translation, of course. Just not reading Quran because you could read Quran, but I wanted to do with translation. It did so good that my father started reading Quran with translation first time. Because I used to have this argument with my father. I said, when you read Quran, what are you reading? He's like, I'm reading Quran. I'm like, yeah, but what is it? And he's like, what do you mean, what is it? Shut the shut the F up, like that kind of stuff. I'm like, I mean, I'm just asking what is it? You tell me what it is. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I will tell you. Ask me anything about Surah Al-Baqarah, I actually did. And I'm like, yeah, this one refers to this part. And then I think he kind of felt like, okay, maybe it's time I start reading Quran. So the work-life balance, of course, entrepreneurship goes exactly opposed to the idea of work-life balance. Doesn't work. But I think you should. One of the things I really want to mention to you guys, and I think sort of relates to philosophy, and that is that everything works really well when you start living by rules. Now, it depends on you what rules you want. I have chosen specifically the rules of Islam, So for me, Sharia okay, for me, the book of the rules of Islam are my bar. Okay, so this is where I match everything. If I do something, I need to kind of measure is this okay on this scale? Okay, if it is, I think that the idea of living without rules is very dumb, and it's depressing. It's depressing because once you start believing in yourself, what happens when you cannot do something? Then who do you turn up to? This idea of that there's such a big power that I can never overpower is so good because whatever you can't get done, you blame it on the higher power. It sort of gives you relief. You're human, you are. It's a very nice one. Anyways, not gonna prolong it, please. Did it like give you some sort of perspective, Abdullah?
No, bro. You're making a point in regards to. Wallah, you're right, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You're so going back. Actually, I want to tie two things you said, and very important, right? A while back you spoke about tawakkul, okay? Tawakkul Allah, okay? And the word tawakkul, if you translate it, means having utmost faith in Allah, okay? But
Mm-hmm.
when you translate it to English, it kind of loses the meaning because tawakkul means you put undying, unresolved faith in Allah, like you everything you do, okay? Now, what you said right now was basically a caveat of tawakkul. Like when you can't do something because we're humans, uh, you I wouldn't say the word blame, but you look for the higher being, and the higher being is it gives you a sense of like refreshing vulnerability and you know that Allah has got your back, and there's a famous hadith from the Prophet ﷺ, and he spoke about you should have tawakkul in Allah the same way the bird goes out into the world and finds food and comes back and feeds its baby. And a lot of people, they mistake that hadith because they think that good things will come to them, sustenance will come to them. But what they're forgetting is that the bird goes and flies out. And by flying out, that means the bird is doing work. It's going out there by working. But it doesn't know it will get food. It knows that it has to do work to get food. So you as a human, as a man, you go out to make money, to do your business. That work is you putting in effort. That is what you spoke about, effort. You know what I'm saying? And the money, the which is an amazing topic, which is rizq. We always speak about this. Me and Hamza always talk about sustenance. Okay, sustenance can be so many things. It's such a beautiful word. So rizq means anything in this planet: money, tranquility, peace, a good wife, children, a good job. That's rizq. And when you put in the effort and then you believe in Allah so wholeheartedly that Allah is going to give you whatever you ask for, that is tawakkul. And that is what you spoke about,
100%, Abdullah. That is definitely, I would say, the most. When you were speaking, I swear I was getting goosebumps because it's very different when people get it. That one is so interesting. That one, when the bird goes out to get the food, the effort. The effort refers to something called the haraka baraka, okay? It means that every movement has baraka in it, okay? Every movement is blessed. And I think with capitalism, if I was to mention this, you are moving towards technology. And the technology also has movement, but people have sort of become very redundant to the idea of the haraka. Now everybody is just looking for there's no work in the market. If you say that there's no work in the market, I will not hang out with you. You're a lazy person. Laziness is a disease, and you stay away from that. Regardless, maybe I will go into deeper topics, but you get the idea.
No, I feel you, man. Absolutely. You're right, man.
Absolutely.
You're right, man.
Well, gentlemen, I'm looking at the time, and as the moderator of the show, want to be able to make sure we're efficient as possible. So, Meraj, first of all, I'm going to always mispronounce your name because I'm not a native Arabic speaker. I'm working on it. I'm trash right now with the translations, but I'm working on it, right? Inshallah. So, usually we end shows like this with our guests with 5 random questions, and for you to answer those random questions within 1 minute or less, right?
Speed round.
So, are you ready to accept the challenge of these 5 random questions?
Don't forget the late bloomer part.
Oh,
I might answer them in the next podcast.
Inshallah, brother. We're going to bring you back for sure. Inshallah, for sure. All right. So I think you accepted, right? So we can go ahead and proceed. All right. So first question, what is the most important part of your morning routine and why?
Okay, this is very interesting, okay? The morning routine has actually changed in the past so many times, okay? Now, the most important part of my morning routine is do not look at my phone, get out of the bed with the alarm, and go take shower, and then do whatever you want. So this has become my current one, yeah.
No, it's not, bro. Stop lying. It's pray Fajr. We're in a group chat.
Well, the Fajr one, this is not being recorded, right? I want to come clean. The Fajr is...
Not what you say,
Don't
please.
be lying, bro.
Yeah. Your routine is a bit different than mine. I wake up for Fajr, I go back to sleep, and then I do the rest of the stuff when I wake up again.
All right.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. I'm checking you.
Not everyone could be like you, AG.
No, bro. We holding.
Yeah,
no doubt. I like it.
I need to donate 250 riyal, by the way.
You can donate to my account at CBQ. All right, second question. Because you're a travel guy, right? You're interested in travel. You travel around a lot of places. What's your favorite place to travel and why?
So, am I a travel guy anymore? No, I hate it actually. In the past, last year, I
Oh,
took more than 80 flights, 80. It was so annoying actually. If it was not for anything,
wow.
like it was becoming a bit of annoyance, yeah. But yeah, road
Hmm.
trips are right now my best called, and they're into the most remote areas. What I like about traveling is meeting is people. I think that traveling is more about people than places. So
Yes,
I would like,
I agree with you.
yeah, more. I would like to explore more the people side. And I will tell you something very interesting, guys. Saudi, the way I explored it, it was so different than the way my non-Arab friends. Actually, I'm non-Arab, but I speak very well Arabic. When you speak the language, and I speak the language, not just that I speak the language, I know their culture. They might not know my culture, but I've made myself closer to the culture. I've experienced Saudi in a total different manner than other people. The same with Oman, and the same with UAE, and the same with Qatar. I connect with people through the language, and through the culture. So it's totally different. Like I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't. This wouldn't happen in Russia, for example. I wouldn't say the same feedback. I'd be like, I don't know about the people, because it was very hard to connect. For example, I was just in, sorry, I have to take a little bit of time. I was in Sri Lanka, and
Oh,
this
good.
is for what I want to do. Yeah, I'm a kite
Mm-hmm.
surfer, crazy about sports, and I went to Sri Lanka for kite surfing. 3 days doing outing, and then I'm like, wait, I wanted to do something. I wanted to do community work. Okay, so I go with a guide, and I go to house by house, and I go to them, and I ask them. There's a post about it on LinkedIn as well. I posted, and this is what I wanted to do. I said, I want to understand, what is your idea of self-sufficiency, and how can you achieve it? The answers were not satisfying. They were like, the government should do more, the government should do that. I'm like, let's suppose there's no government. What do you do? It's like, we don't have a toilet. I'm like, the government's supposed to build your toilet? And worse, she was actually a palm weaver, so she's like weaving palm leaves. I'm like, just make that, you will at least have a toilet. And then, yeah, I mean, do something, like move. No, I didn't say it in that way. I was very considerate to them. I'm just saying it here. And then I go the last day, I met with so many families. Then I will go to last day to the school. And I asked the students, I'm like, I came up with some problems, guys, in your village. Do you think you can solve it? And they were like, of course they said first no. I'm like, no, yes, you can solve it. I just want to ask you something. So then I asked them questions in order to go closer to. I'm like, there's a problem, and I want you guys to give me your best suggestion. And in the end, we ended up solving the problem. And it does not require money. It does not require money. So self-sufficiency without money was my challenge, right? Now, did I like that experience? Was it very easy? No, it was very hard. I did not speak to them in their language. They did not understand my language. So it was very hard to connect with them. I did not understand their culture really well, although I'm a very uh, culture friendly person. I understand the culture, but they were not getting me, we couldn't connect. So that is the moral of the story. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So that's good. I think travel is what you make it, right? Some people love road trips. I miss the road trip aspect because in the U.S. I could travel so many states, but in Qatar is like Doha, and maybe if you go some other remote places. Now you're really good at that because you'll find places that common person wouldn't know or wouldn't even travel to. You know what I mean? So that's pretty cool. All right, so we're 2 questions down. Got 3 more for you. All right. Third question: if you were not an entrepreneur, what would you do?
I think if I wasn't an entrepreneur, definitely, I would be a very I don't know if I would be a successful one, but I would be a crazy sportsman. That was my thing. By the before entrepreneurship, everything in my life was about healthy. If I show you guys the picture of 2013, I sometimes don't believe that was me. Yeah, I think AB, you have
I
seen
see.
it, I guess,
I
right?
see. I see it. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
yeah.
see
You
it.
can you can say it's sick.
It's definitely AI.
Uh, no, there was no AI in 2013, but no problem.
Sorry, my bad. I mean Photoshop. My bad. I'm messing.
I feel like there's a hater in the
I'm
house,
messing.
but
I'm
we're gonna go for
I'm
it. Yeah, I
messing.
feel
I'm
like this.
messing.
I smell a hater.
I'm messing.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So number four. What three things mean success for you?
Okay, success. I like to always measure or weigh the success part. Whenever somebody asks me, I always just move towards corporate environment. And the day, they start mentioning my name in panel discussion is one way I would consider myself to be successful. The other day is when I myself is able to achieve self-sufficiency. That's another part of the success. And the third is very interesting and it's very hard to achieve, and that's go to a remote town, and that town is basically ran by my specific orders. Okay, no dictatorship, guys, but like I'm talking about uh, very healthy practices of life. For example, um, you have the poor community, you empower them, and I'm not talking about woman empowerment. I don't like the woman empowerment part. I like the human empowerment part. So I sort of lean towards that more. And these are the three things, yeah.
All right. And are you close to those things that you define as success?
Okay, that is interesting. I mean, the only one that I'm close to is, being soon on the panel discussions. That's it. The other ones I'm not very close to yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're quite far, I would say.
Not yet. Inshallah, not yet.
Inshallah,
But
soon,
yeah,
yes.
It's coming, man. It's coming.
inshallah.
Inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah, I think
Definitely.
so. All right. And then one last question to wrap everything up. All right. If you can eat dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would that person be?
Oh my God.
It would be Jay-Z, right?
Is this a religious? Man, give me 500.
I'm taking that 500,000. I'm out of there, bro.
Jay-Z,
Yeah,
Jay-Z,
that's
See
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z. I'll holler at you later.
Jay-Z, who?
Jay-Z who?
Yeah, I'm throwing the deuces on him. I'm out of there, bro.
That was
500,000. Give
funny,
me
man.
that.
I was like, he's like, give me that 500,000.
That was hilarious.
Jay-Z, who?
Oh
Jay-Z
my
would want
God.
you to take the 500,000 for real. You know
Jay-Z
what I
said
mean?
it. He said, he's like, take the
Yeah,
500K.
he wants you to take the 500,000. Yeah, I don't know why you come and talk to me. You know what I mean?
People actually
Honestly, I swear, honestly, I'm being very honest. I don't have any need of having a dinner with someone. I swear to God, like I'm being very.
Mm,
It's not something, but I do have a different perspective if you want, and that is, I was one
yeah.
thinking, what if food was not a necessity, but more like a delicacy that you eat whenever you want, but you never get full, you never get fat? How would the life be? Different,
that's
right?
Jannah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Is there
that's a
any way we
bar.
can get that like on the planet Earth? No.
Yeah, no, because bro,
Mm,
because we're in dunya, bro. Wrong place.
reward. Mm-hmm.
I
Wrong
think
place, broski.
maybe
That's a good point, AB.
maybe I found the first piece of the puzzle. Now just being
That's a good
steadfast in
point,
it.
AB. I like that.
That's a
Yeah.
good one, by the way.
Yeah.
I have to give.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, so AB, I know this is a little unorthodox, but since Miraj didn't have anyone, do you have someone that you would want to, dead or alive, eat, dinner with, chop it up with?
Man, I would love to sit with the prophets, to be honest. I would love to end the prophets
Absolutely.
it's funny, a couple years ago, it's funny because like we think such like secular kind of thoughts, and like you say like LeBron James, Michael Jordan, you see like you gravitate towards like athletes, like what's your favorite, like Ronaldo, Messi, but truth be told, like I wouldn't want any of these people, so you'd want, now that you look back at it, it's like, what really would you gain from these people? But if I sat down with like Prophet
Facts.
Nuh, or like Prophet Yunus, or Prophet Yusuf or
Alayhi
Prophet
wasallam.
Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Mhm.
It's like, bro, you can just not even at dinner, like just a small like chat, like you can just gain so much wisdom because these guys have direct linkage to Allah. Don't forget, like they have a direct phone line to Allah. So it's like you can ask them
Mhm.
anything and they can give you. Like I would love to talk to Prophet Yusuf and ask him about like dreams, you know. So that's a huge thing, you know,
Absolutely.
or talk to uh Nabi Isa and ask him about like how did like you know just like how did it feel to you yourself be a miracle and be a child that like is able to speak, you know. So there's so many questions you can ask. So those are
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
you know, those are the things I would do. What about you, Hamza?
Yeah, it would be definitely one of the prophets. You know, obviously, you know, it has to be. We read about, you know, the stories. They were the reminders.
You,
They were the people who were carrying on the messages to the people who were not listening,
bro,
right? So they were the
bro.
ones who were giving.
You know, bro, sorry to cut you off. You know,
Yeah.
bro, who I would love to talk
There
to,
you go.
bro? I would love to talk to. I would love to talk to
Who?
Khalid ibn Walid. That's one guy I would love to talk to. Khalid ibn Walid, bro.
What would you say though?
Oh,
What would
bro,
you
man.
say?
Or I would, you know, bro. Actually, I would actually talk to before Khalid ibn Walid, Umar ibn Khattab, and then
Yes.
Exactly. I
Oh
was
yeah, I knew you
gonna
were gonna say that.
say.
That's what I was waiting
and
for. I thought you were
and
gonna say that.
you
That's what I thought
know
you were
what?
gonna say.
I'll tell you. Omar, bro, has such a similar story, especially for you because you're a revert. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Maraj, me and this
Mm-hmm.
guy, the last podcast, we are talking about interfaith dialogue, right? Like how we
Yes.
should it's obviously it's a surah in the Quran, surah Kafirun. It's okay to have these discussions with other religions as long as you keep your religion. Like I have my religion, you have
Right.
yours. I know the truth, and I'm gonna stick to the truth basically. So it's actually in the Quran, you know, surah Kafirun, and we spoke about we said Hamza said like a very good point where he said like the original Sahaba, so the first generation Sahaba, Abu Bakr, Ali, Umar, Hamza, all these guys, Uthman, all these top G's, you know. Um,
Mm-hmm.
these guys were all like reverts, you know. They're all reverts. So Islam is the current ummah today is growing at the pace it's growing because of the foundations these original sahabas and also the sahabas
Mm-hmm.
and the muhajirin and all these
SubhanAllah.
things all these guys the effort they made, you know. So I would love to sit down and like imagine bro, if you really
They're the stories.
if you
Imagine that.
really deep it, bro, if you really deep it, imagine, bro. For context points, obviously, I'm saying it now. For context point, imagine, bro, a man comes, non-educated, illiterate, has a revelation based off the good faith. He tells you he's a prophet, and you, with all your money and all your lavish life, have to change based on what he says. You know, bro, how much, bro, you have to give up thinking and now you're changing your mind and believing that there's a hereafter. There's all these things. So and we have these problems right now because me and Miraj talk about it. Where like, man, we're so in tune with the dunya that we forget about the akhirah. You know what I'm saying? We're chasing money all the time. We're living right now, forgetting that eventually we're gonna die. So it's crazy. So imagine
Fact.
all these Sahabas living at that time, having so much. A guy like Umar, so strong, so powerful, has all this barakah, but then the minute he converts to Islam or reverts to Islam, he changes, and like that
Yep.
would be an amazing discussion. That's the kind of talk I would love to
Mm-hmm.
have, or dinner, I guess, whatever.
Actually, you know, Abdullah, when you mentioned the dinner part, you could also read the seerah of Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anh. I mean, the Prophet even mentioned, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, mentioned in one of the hadith, saying that if there was any prophet after me, it would be Umar bin Khattab. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Yani.
MashaAllah.
I didn't mention these guys because I was thinking they're like not in the question. But of course, I mean, we have to go with the prophets. But I also don't like the idea of just the dinner. Why not just, like limitation? Look, you give me that book in dunya, cool. But don't give me that book in Jannah, bro. I want to be off limits in Jannah. No limitations.
Sorry, bro. Next time we'll try to get them on the podcast for you.
Yeah. Send up a raven or something. Like, I don't know.
But you asked me one question.
Game of Thrones raven.
Hamza, you asked me one question. You said, was it Abdullah? Sorry, Abdullah, you asked me this question. How do you balance, the work, health, and all that? I think that question should be definitely, if we ever get a chance, we should definitely ask that question to Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anh, because he did that perfectly. Not just he did that perfectly, he was the first one to bring out police. The concept of police was introduced by him, in the streets. My God. I mean, that we have to read his seerah so that we understand how, we can balance these things. Because he was balancing between the deen, the family, the politics, the travels, my God. That's interesting. It gives me goosebumps.
SubhanAllah, man.
SubhanAllah, it's remarkable. Well, gentlemen, this was a spirited debate and discussion and exchange and banter. You could fill it in with a lot of different characteristics and adjectives, but this was definitely a wonderful conversation, and hopefully everyone get to see a little bit of what the crew talks about. Maybe not sometimes deep to this level, but obviously there's always some substantive information, if you will, right? Always gonna make you laugh, range of emotions when you come around us, you know what I mean? So, Meraj, we appreciate you. But before you go, you got to shout out what you do, where we can find you. How can people get plugged into 365 Adventures? Where can they find you, brother?
Well, look, I believe in technology so much, so it's very easy. Just write 365 Adventures on internet, and we are everywhere. If we are not everywhere, then you need to complain to us, because I would not want to be the second one in the world. I want to be, of course, the best one. So, of course, find us anywhere online. Just 365 Adventures. Don't write 360 Adventures. Don't write Adventure 365. It's 365 Adventures. That's it, and you find us anywhere. But I think it's good to connect with me on LinkedIn, because that's the platform I use the most for bragging about what we do. So you can also stay updated.
That's dope. Yeah, and on the show, we always have different backgrounds for each show that we have, and we always include your name and also maybe I guess the account, usually IG. You know what I'm saying? So
definitely,
we know you got a lot of followers on IG. We'll probably put your Instagram handle there for all you guys listening. Audio wise, it's at 365adventures.global.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So we'll put all that down there as well, so you can connect with Meraj, get your 365 adventures, not 180, not 360. You know what I'm saying? So, AB, you know how we do. What's the parting thoughts before we end the show?
No, bro, this show's amazing, man, and I'm happy to share this platform with my brother Maraj. It was a very, very insightful show. It's funny because we have these discussions day to day, me and this guy, and I know now he's far away, and I'm very proud of him. Wallah, I'm always cheering for him. I'm very happy that he's people don't understand the risks behind the scenes. Like I've been saying this, but family's here, he's out there, he's grinding. So Allah, bro, I just wish you the best as always. I'm supporting you. I'm always rooting for you, and inshallah khair, more life and more success to come, man. Allah is always the best planner, as you said, and he's the best provider. So khair, inshallah.
Thank you so much, Abdullah. Wallahi.
Definitely, and as you're traveling, fi aman Allah, may Allah protect you, my brother.
Ameen.
So as you're going through this dunya, you know what I mean? So, all right, guys, signing off. The Expat Bros, episode 8 in the books. You dig? Peace.
Bye.